Hi, everybody. Welcome to day 3. If you're just joining us, welcome. You want to make sure that if you're just joining us, it is certainly not too late to join us for the detox. Really at any point you can start it. So you'll have everything you need to get started. So in this video, in the description for the video, there's a link to download your resources. There's loads of stuff. There's a guide, a really comprehensive guide. There's pantry lists. There's recipes. We're sharing extra recipes here in the group. And then today we're going to be talking about detox symptoms and cravings. And then we're also going to do a really great exercise I love called the Wheel of Life to see where things are not in balance in our lives. So first, the business stuff. So the supplements that can help you deal with your detox symptoms. So detox symptoms can be really intense. They range from, moodiness, fatigue, headaches. It can even feel like you have the flu for a little bit with no fever. So it can be really intense. But if you do feel that way, it means that what you're doing is working. Honestly, like the worse you feel, probably the more you needed it. And so, you can try to make sure that you're scheduling this on some days that, like, when your detox symptoms are going to be the worst, that you're not at work. So, if you started yesterday, for example, probably by Friday or Saturday, you're going to start feeling some detox symptoms. And so hopefully by the end of the weekend, you're going to start feeling a lot better. And so first, know that this is very temporary. It only lasts a couple of days. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Make sure you're eating enough food, especially when we make changes to our diet or do something, sort of drastic like a sugar detox. We might tend to not eat enough food, and that can make us feel worse. So make sure that you're eating plenty of food. Do not feel like you're going to eat too much food, especially if you've been dieting for a long time. You might kind of have it in your head that too much food is bad, and that's really just not the case. If we're eating a lot of good, healthy stuff, then we're not going to overeat. We're not going to eat too much food. Really easy to overeat on sugar. And we talked about that in the workshop that I hosted last night that is recorded here in the group. And if you join the email list, you'll get access to all of this stuff too. So if you don't have your materials, make sure that you have clicked the link and joined my email list, downloaded that. I'm sending a daily roundup out. I'm sending lots of extra information, and I'm here in the group every day going live as well. So supplements that help with detox symptoms. So there's actually some really great stuff out there that is easy to acquire. Cinnamon is one thing. So I love cinnamon. It's a comfort food for me. And so cinnamon can help balance your blood sugar, but also it can also, just putting it in your mouth, my brain kind of interprets it. I associate it with sweetness, and so when I put cinnamon in my mouth, I automatically think it's sweet. So it can help you with food cravings. It can also help regulate your blood sugar. Turmeric's another one, and you can get turmeric capsules. Make sure you're eating them with a little fat, a little bit of coconut oil or something, just to make sure that it's processing properly. But very easy to find. Ginseng is another one. Anything with inulin in it is great. It does not impact your blood sugar it nearly as much as like wheat would, for example, or even like rice flour, tapioca, things like that. But it is a carb, and so that can kind of help balance out your blood sugar and your food cravings as well. Milk thistle's another one that, again, helps to balance your blood sugar and is easy to find in capsule form. Vitamin D. So, I know it's winter right now. A lot of us are supplementing with vitamin D and getting a little bit extra. Also, you can just go outside and go for a walk. And walking also helps to regulate your blood sugar. So it's like a double whammy. And if you can get out early in the morning too, is another thing that can really be helpful. Like when the sun is coming up, because it helps to sync your circadian rhythm to the sun, and then that is going to help balance your cortisol levels and also balance out your blood sugar. So again, like, I know that's a lot of, if you have small kids especially, like, that's kind of impossible, but if you can, it's awesome to do. Psyllium husk is it's a fiber, and again, something that you can add into things that you're drinking or eating, and really helps balance out blood sugar. Magnesium is another one. Most of us should be taking a magnesium supplement anyway, every day. I certainly do. So that can also help, and it also helps you relax and just feel like better emotionally. And white mulberry is the other one that is listed in here. So, it's also something, again, that you can find in capsule form. And chromium is another one. So, there's lots of stuff out there that can help you to balance your blood sugar. And also, a lot of this stuff helps with food cravings as well. And I also want to mention again that the Juice Plus Complete is a protein powder. It is really high quality. It's NSF certified, which means that it goes through a third-party system that verifies that no gross stuff is in it, and everything that they say is in it is actually in it. So it's a complete protein. It is full of fiber. It's sweet. It's got a little bit of fructose. It's got a little stevia in it, but does not impact your blood sugar, like to the point that it's safe for diabetics. So if you are having cravings, if you're having a hard time getting full, this stuff is the jam. So there's a link to learn more about this as well. And so on to the fun part. Before I move on, I want to say one more thing too, is that if you are needing support, you're getting the emails, just reply to my emails, put some time on my calendar to sit down and chat for 30 minutes. I'm happy to help you. Or make a comment here, ask a question here in the group. So there's lots of ways to ask and get help. Now, I love this, y'all. This is one of my very favorite exercises. So this is the health wheel of life. Let me move this around because I'm lefty. So what you want to do is, if you haven't printed this out, there's a link to download this in the description, and you don't have to print it out. I know not everybody has a printer. Apparently old people do, like me. And you can just draw it out. So what you want to do, I'm going to get up in here. So you see that there is 10 on the outside of the circle and 1 on the inside. So you just want to make a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being on the outside of the circle. All right. And so we're going to rate all of these areas of our life. So we're going to start with nutrition. How do you feel about your nutrition? Like when you think about food, when you think about sugar, where do you feel on the scale of 1 to 10? Like, do you feel like I got this down? Do you want, like, would be a 10? 1 would be like, I am completely out of control. Where do you feel like you're on the spectrum of your nutrition? Do you feel like food is nourishment, or do you feel like it's just yet another thing on your to-do list every day that is a pain in your butt? So, mark from 1 to 10 on your list. Okay, persistence. So we need to be consistent to make change. And when we start talking about cutting sugar out, for example, if you're addicted to sugar, we've taken the sugar quiz a couple of times. I'll do that again tomorrow. So, if you're addicted to sugar, what's going on there? Sometimes it's emotional eating. I think for a lot of us really do have like an emotional attachment to sugar, and we're kind of self-medicated with it. And then we've tried many, many times in the past and failed. And so, where is your persistence in making change in your life? Do you, like at a 1, do you just not even try? At a 10, like you're super successful in making change? So where in there do you feel like you're on the spectrum? Like, do you feel like, you're okay for a little while and then you kind of fall off the wagon? You do okay, would be like a 5. So where do you feel like you are on the scale? So the next one is fun. Do you have time for fun in your life? We all need to have fun, and it can be hard to do sometimes. So depending on what your situation is. So where do you feel? Like, do you feel like you have enough fun? Do you feel like you need way more? Do you feel like you have no fun? It's like a 0, fun all the time. So where is that on the scale? And your life's purpose. So if we don't feel like we have a purpose, we're probably kind of lost. We're probably depressed. We're probably anxious. Or, we feel like we do have a life's purpose, but we're not achieving it. Or maybe you feel like I am on fire and I am like, got it. I got it down. Like I'm a 10. So where do you feel, with your life's purpose? How's it going? And self-love. I was just teaching a class tonight and we were talking about self-love. It's one of my favorite subjects. So where do you feel like you are on the scale of self-love? And back to the sugar addiction and detoxing. A lot of times if we're emotionally eating, we're self-medicating and we're trying to cover up for something. And so I found with a lot of my students, a lot of my clients, that they're very much lacking in the self-love department. And as a result, we're not treating ourselves with kindness. We're not treating ourselves with love. We're certainly not eating the way, we would maybe tell our children to eat, or even something that we care about. In some ways it might be kind of abusive. So where are you on the self-love scale? Are you like, I'm the worst at a 1, or like, I feel like I have an incredible relationship with myself would be a 10. So where do you feel like you are on the scale of self-love? And me time. We talk a lot about self-care in our society, and I think we talk about it so much because it's so hard to do. It can be really hard, especially as women, to make ourselves a priority. And so where do you feel like on the scale of, you're able to take care of yourself, you're able to, take some time for yourself to, build that relationship of self-love and achieve your life's purpose? Or, are you like, I have no time to myself, it's all about everybody else? So where do you fall on that? And general well-being, again, we're all here for a sugar detox. We all probably are feeling like we need some improvement somewhere. So where, on the scale of 1 to 10, do you feel like your well-being lies? Are you like at a 1 where like I need like drastic help? Are you at a 10 where you're like, I just feel like I am freaking amazing and things are great? So where on the scale of 1 to 10 in the well-being do you feel like you are? So and then exercise. So where do you feel like you are on the scale of exercise? If you're just joining me, we are doing the Wheel of Life. You can download this in the description to the video and you can just draw your own out. So you can see here, we've gone through nutrition, persistence, fun, life's purpose, self-love, me time, well-being, and exercise. So we're ending up at exercise. So where do you feel like you are on the scale of exercise? Are you like, I never exercise? I hate it. I don't even like to think about it. Or are you like, I have a really good relationship with it, and there's a thing as too much exercise too. We wear ourselves out. We were talking about cortisol levels before. Too much exercise is a bad thing, but too little is a good thing too. So where do you feel like you are in the balance of exercising regularly and taking care of yourself? So once you have done that, so once you have ranked all of these from on a scale of 1 to 10, what you're going to do is connect your dots and see how well I can draw a circle. You're going to connect your dots, and ideally in life we have a nice round circle. But I will tell you that most people's do not look like this. Usually it's pretty wonky and something is off. And the point of this is to be able to see where in your life things are not lining up for you. Because as we're going through this detox, as we're setting goals for ourselves over the next year, as we're thinking about what our resolutions are, what do we feel like we... Yes, Miranda, I would say that exercise, chasing your children, especially if you have 3 around your house, is exercise. So you get a 10. Making sure, this is a really good indicator of where things are off in your life and what you feel like you should focus on. So, if you feel like your self-love is kind of in the dumps, or, you don't have any fun ever, you're not able to be persistent in what you're trying to achieve, whatever that is, this is a really good indication of what you need to focus on in the new year. So, and we're going to be talking more about how you can do that. So, with that said, I hope everybody's sugar detox is going well. Please let me know if you have any questions. And back to just kind of what I was saying before is, if you have not joined my email list yet and gotten the resources, there are loads of amazing resources in these downloads. You're also going to get daily emails and daily roundup emails. I know it's a lot to ask of somebody to come show up every night and for these lives. And so, being able to catch up on it when you can. And then as we are finishing up the detox, I'm still going to be going live and talking about some things that you can do to keep going on with the progress that you've made over the last 10 days. Because once you finish the detox, I don't want you to go back to what you were doing before, because you were here for a reason, and old habits die hard. So you don't want to go back to eating all the sugar that you were eating before and end up back in the same place, in a month. So we're going to talk about how you can start setting some goals and sticking to, some small habits throughout the year to make sure that you make progress on what you're looking for. So with that said, I will see y'all tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you have any questions. All right, bye.